Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Rishi TCG here, and we're back with another video. And in this video, we're gonna be going over how, as a Lucci, you can beat BY Luffy's in OP9. So let's get into it. So the matchup overview against BY Luffy, you really want to pick second. However, I don't think the turn order matters too much, rather than your hand. It's really ideal to mulligan for an 8 cost, being like Moria or Isho. If you're playing that, I don't think you should play Isho. I'm just saying 8 cost in this situation. Or a 7, like having a Jack is good, but it's not like as good as a Gecko because you still gotta invest a Dawn into it, limiting your plays a little bit. So looking for 8 cost or a Kaido. Really ideal, and we're gonna go over why that's important. And then don't take life too early, aka guard out of any swings that require 1 card. So don't be just taking a 5 or some bullshit to see your hand. You can't do that. You can't afford to do that in this matchup. Yeah, I have a good matchup into BYs. I tend to do good into them. You can see my last 2 treasure cups on my Twitter. I actually think I have like a 70% win rate into BYs. Okay, so what is BY Luffy? So it would help, if you thought about BY Luffy as, their hand size being their life rather than their actual life. So that means that, if they have no hand, it's basically they have no life and they can't do their little awaken recursion thing. So the game mentality is pretty grindy. There are going to be a couple turns where you're literally just going to be focusing on getting cards out of their hand. But keep that in mind, these games will go a little bit long, but they are more rewarding if you can get into those later phases of the game, because the later you go, BY eventually runs out of resources. So the way they win is by getting you low with big swings and lethaling you with their big bodies. So them being at 9k for half the game means our only really swingers are like Geckos and Jacks and Kaidos. Or if we want, we can attach like Fordon to our leader, and that'll be a swinger. On top of that, with the new edition of Rocket Luffy, I guess it's not new, it's been like a fucking year almost, but with Rocket Luffy in their deck, we can't really play Rebecca out without comboing with the Sabo, because it's just going to get removed. So Rebecca's pretty useless without a Sabo. Not being said that it shouldn't be played. I'm just saying that it's way better with Sabo in this matchup. And then Sabo becomes one of the strongest cards in this matchup, and that's why I'm playing 3. I don't know if I'll play 3. Maybe I'll just play 2 because of the lack of BYs I saw in the treasure cups. But I'm gonna do some more research before this next treasure cup and really decide what is going to be what I'm gonna do. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, wait, one more thing is the Kaido and Nightmare Luffy. We're gonna go over these 2 tech cards. I don't think you need Nightmare Luffy to win, but if you are struggling with the matchup, it can really close these games, and I might play 1, but I don't know about playing 2, just cause the amount of BYs, like I just said, has reduced a little bit because of Dofi. But let's talk about the defining turn in this matchup, and it's not the beginning where you guys are just swinging at each other, because they don't really got a lot to do, and you're not going to swing at them because you want to starve them out, make them use their Hioris, their Makinos to get down. But so when BY Luffy plays a Beater Luffy, and Beater Luffy's that power up Luffy that says, activate this, you can trash a card from life, draw a card or some bullshit, and it buffs it by 2k, gets an 8k. So basically, it's a really easy way for BY to get down and awaken without having to use their 2ks, and you want them to use their 2ks because the less 2ks they have, the less counter they're gonna have, the longer they're gonna the less amount of time they're gonna live, and the easier it is, you're going to be able to kill their bodies because they're not going to have counter. So you need to have an answer to this Beater Luffy, and pretty much that's always going to be an Ice Age or a Suru plus another killing him. But we're gonna go over the curve in a second. But you always need to have an answer, because if you don't have an answer to this Peter Luffy, you're just gonna lose. And this is why I advise on like the list I'm playing, which is, you know, will be in the description of this video, was in the description of the last video, and you can see gameplay in the last video. Why you want to have so many answers to kill these important threats, because if you can't kill this threat, the game's gonna progressively get harder and you're just gonna lose. Because this matchup is tough, but if you know what to do, it's not that tough. So do whatever it takes, and you're gonna be in a great spot. Now, let's talk about another thing that BYs tend to do, and that's after that Peter Luffy, is that they like to do some variation of set up a Kuzan plus a Sabo the turn before, you know, you Gecko, and this ensures that the following turn your Gecko will probably be popped by a Rocket Luffy, okay, while they establish a Gecko. And this is really bad. Like, you know, like you can't, like, because if you lose a Gecko, you're a turn behind. That means you're a turn behind the turns you're going to need to extract resources out of them. So this is why Kaido is super good. It's going to let you get out of that lock. It's going to kill the Kuzan, bypass that lock of Sabo. And this play has put me ahead like multiple times, and I've like remembered it in regionals that where it's come up. And I've played this Kaido, and it's really changed. So Kaido, this is why I suggest playing at least one Kaido, or maybe even two Kaidos, you know, like, it's just up to preference, really, how many BYs you think you're going to see, but that's kind of my take on Kaido. Now, in terms of the next slide, okay, so I like to call this slide Extraction, and Extraction is really important in the BY matchup, because there is a, like, kind of a turn where you're gonna be just trying to extract cards out of their hand, and like I said, that basically means hitting them, like lethaling them out. So after getting like two Geckos, you don't want to play another Gecko at this point. Like, you know, you playing another Gecko is just gonna waste all your Dawn. You need to start like, you know, hitting them. So at least 3 9s is probably gonna be a good number. So like play a Sabo, swing 9 with Leader, swing 9 with Gecko, and then swing 9 with another, like with Jack or some shit, would be 9, like 3 swings. And then after that, if they'll awaken again, lose more cards, and then you do it one more time, and then they awaken again, and then now that you have 2 blockers and you can live that one more turn, boom, like they can't awaken, they're out of resources, and that's when you go for lethal. Another, like, you know, sneaky play you can do is while it's shark in their hands, instead of that additional swing from Leader for that 4 Dawn, you can just play that Sabo, play that Nightmare Luffy, get maybe 2 9s in, and then just the next turn that Nightmare Luffy becomes super strong, because, you know, if you go over, if you watch my last video, which I completely recommend you watch my last video before you watch this video, if you are trying to learn Lucci, that Nightmare Luffy is super strong, because, you know, stack up those units in the trash, and it really buffs Nightmare Luffy, making it pretty much just a 5 cost that's like a 12k at certain points, and then it trashes a Sabo on top of that. So ridiculous card. Okay, so the first curve in this matchup is the same, except on Dawn 1 now we're gonna like hella emphasize, we're not swinging at them, so we're gonna hella emphasize on using Spandom, using our Tempest Kick to filter, because we know it's probably gonna be useless later, especially in the late game when they're always using Sabo, so nothing can be KO'd. Then we can play a Brook if that's like one of the ways we're gonna kill the Nightmare Luffy, or not Beater Luffy, with because we want to set up a Brook. However, you know, I just think you can just do nothing here. Sometimes it might not even be a pass. Like, there are turns at the beginning of the game where you can just do nothing. And then Dawn 5 is that turn where you're responding to that Beater Luffy, and, you know, those are all like kind of ways you can do it. You can do probably not Kaku. I don't know why Kaku's there. Gotta remove Kaku. But we got, and probably Sabo, but we got Ice Age, Who's Who, we got, I can't even do Ice Age Who's Who. I don't know why I wrote that down, but this is the play. That or, you know, Brook. So that would be the play right there for Dawn 5. You really need to get rid of this Beater Luffy, otherwise it's just gonna be super difficult. And remember, you can also get Rebecca here, so Rebecca can bring back that Brook. Okay, let's go to the next slide, and, you know, it's Dawn 7. You gotta play a Jack here just because you need a big body. I don't think Jack's effect is too good. You're not probably gonna get to like trash and rest this to KO a card. But if you have a blocker, you can rest this with filter on the first turn. However, you know, Jack's a really good body just because you can just put one on it, swing at them at 9. Then from the following turn is if you got Kuza unlocked, you're probably gonna go for a Kaido. If you didn't, you're probably gonna go for a Gecko. And the next following turn, you're gonna go for another Gecko. And if they play the Gecko, another play you can do is respond to their Gecko by playing a Kaido. Okay, so it's really strong. And then after that, Rebecca Sabo, like I said, establishing those blockers, extracting, and then that Sabo Nightmare Luffy combo. Okay, so we're just going to really quickly go over the second curve, and like I said, we're just going to take these out, and yeah, one sec, yeah, okay. So now we have like these 3 here. Respond to the beater. So here we can play the Khalifa out. I could have mentioned that you can play the Khalifa out on 4 Dawn there, but you probably won't be able to do it here because on 5 Dawn you're just like doing this shit, having a response. You probably won't get to play Khalifa. But going second, you can play Khalifa to make your hand a little bit better if it's just kind of weird, you know, like doesn't have any, just has a bunch of bricks in it, no geckos. So that's good. First, like I said, the Tempest and the Spannum really useful for building up trash since you're not hitting them, you're not getting to activate that leader ability. Another thing I wanted to emphasize, if you respond to the beater Luffy and part of your plan includes that you have to use your leader ability, you gotta use it. It's just part of it. That it's better to swing at them than let that beater Luffy live. Let me just say that. And then finally, you know, we got the second curve, the curving out at the end. Like I said, it's pretty similar to, you just play that Gecko, and Kaido. So with this game plan, I think you should see a lot more success in this matchup. And if you have any questions or need any help, feel free to leave a comment and I'll be sure to respond to all those. But thanks for watching, guys, and the next video in the series will either be a gameplay video going over this exact plan if you guys want that, or a Dofi video. Peace.